Hi, welcome to Meanwhile at the Castle podcast. This is episode 27 and it is January 11th, 2018. Happy birthday, Andrew!
It's our brother's birthday!
Yay. And happy birthday, Aria, yesterday!
Yay!
Yay.
We had a great day.
Happy anniversary the day before that to me! Yay!
Yay.
Okay.
So many celebrations.
I'm Queen Deborah.
And I'm Queen Emily.
And we have a website, www.meanwhileatthecastle.com.
Yep.
Where we have show notes with links. You can find show notes below this episode, but it doesn't have all the links, though there is a link to our website.
There you go.
And we also have a Ravelry group, Meanwhile at the Castle, where I actually have started participating again.
I actually got on there yesterday, I'll have you know.
We have a new thread in there where you can share your knitting bucket list and what you want to be working on, and we can cheer each other on and share our progress. So go in there and share some of the things that are on your knitting bucket list.
All right.
So
anything else that we need to, like, any admin-y type stuff that we need to talk about? I don't think so.
Nope, I don't think so. I think we should just start in on some knitting.
Yay!
Today.
Except for we have to talk about the most wonderful thing in the world.
Okay, let's talk about the most wonderful.
I cut my hair. Well, I didn't cut my hair.
The most wonderful thing in the world.
I got my hair cut, and I feel like a new woman. I'm so happy.
You look really like Hollywood.
It's my glam.
Actress.
That's so
exactly.
funny because I don't know how that happened, but I'm so happy to have my hair shorter. It was really long for me.
I was surprised at how
It was
long
like,
it was. I didn't
I
notice.
think we cut off 6 inches, just the first cut.
Okay, so we had like close to the same length hair for a while where
pretty
it
short.
was pretty short. Like in 2013, I cut my hair to like this length, and then a few months later, I cut it to like a longer pixie.
Yeah, 2014, I think, is when we cut our hair both.
Yeah, when we went, really short.
Yeah.
And
you
then,
did it first, and it was so cute, and I'm like, that's it, I'm doing it.
And you looked really cute with short hair.
You did too.
And then
so cute.
last year, I was like, I needed a change, so I started growing it out last February. But your hair was much longer, because we started growing it out almost the same time.
My hair grows like, well, no, I think I had mine down to here when your hair was still really short.
That's true.
That long pixie.
But you know what? It's because of how I grow my hair out. I'm very methodical about it.
Yes.
So when your hair's really short, if you just let it grow, you end up with a weird mullet.
Yeah, I know. I experienced that.
So what I do is I just, as it's growing, I just keep trimming up the back bottom layer and the front. I just keep trimming that and trimming it until the hair, because my hair was cut over my ear, until this length met up with like my hairline, my neckline. And then I let it all grow out. And that I finally reached that point about 2-3 months ago.
Well, and see, I was at that point
here
when you started growing yours out.
Yeah.
So I had already gone through all of that and the having to trim up all the shaggy stuff.
Yeah.
And so now your hair will just go like crazy.
Yeah, now it's just barely, I mean, it reaches my shoulders.
Super cute.
But I don't know what I'm
Any
like
day
50,
now,
50.
You could show up with a pixie cut.
Yes.
Or in 6 months you could have long hair.
Or I might be blonde.
Or
who knows?
Pink?
Who knows?
Purple.
I'm not doing pink or purple after doing that a couple of times with my girls, and my hair's been purple and blue before, and it's really a pain to change back. So
well, all I can say is I am happy as a blonde with short hair. That makes me happy. And I felt like when when she cut that, I was just like, oh, I can breathe again. It was so fabulous. I feel so good. So anyway.
I can't decide. Every day I'm like, I'm cutting it. That's it. I'm cutting it. And I'm like, wait, remember you wanted this like enough to do this for a year of growing out. So just hold on. Chillax. That's my thing. I know that's the stupidest thing, but I've been saying that to myself a lot lately. I need that. All right.
Okay, knitting.
Knitting, okay.
I don't have very much, actually.
I don't have a ton of knitting. I have some knitting, and I've got some sewing, and we've got some fun, exciting new business that if you're on Instagram, you will have seen what's going on, but we're going to introduce Emily's new business that's really exciting. So, first of all, I finished my husband's socks.
You did it!
Oh.
That is so wonderful.
Hallelujah. In here I put the tag for the yarn. So I didn't lose it.
Nice.
MJ Yarns Sophistisock. It is Joseph. And when I was finished, I had 28 grams remaining, but I used a 20-gram mini skein for the cuffs, heels, and toes. So I can get a full pair of socks for my husband in the longer leg. He would still like it an extra inch longer, but in the longer leg with one skein of yarn.
With enough to put a square in a blanket, possibly, if you wanted.
Depending on the yarn. This, depending on the yardage.
Yeah, I said it, if you'd want.
But I used a 20-gram mini skein and ran out on the toe right there. You can see where I had to find something that I could hurry and throw in there. So it's got a little bit of silver stellina, barely, so we're going to call this one Twinkle Toes.
Twinkle Toes. I'm writing it down.
This is the name of the socks, Twinkle Toes.
No, just Twinkle Toe.
Twinkle Toe. My husband will appreciate that.
In the singular.
Now my husband has 3 pair of hand knit socks, and he actually refuses to wear them because he doesn't want to ruin them. He says, I don't want to ruin them because I love them so much, I'll wear them out. I'm like, you better wear those socks. No kidding. So I actually need to knit him more because if he has more to rotate through, he loves his hand knit socks. So
that's fun.
This one I knit 64 stitches. I did, and here's the other thing, I did 22 or 24 rows, 22 I think, on the cuff. I could do a slightly shorter cuff and get away with a 20-gram mini skein, I think, if I did a shorter cuff in this, but I don't know.
So that was a 20-gram mini skein, and
20-gram mini skein. Yeah. So I did. It's because I love my husband. An 8-inch leg.
Oh, that is true love.
He likes them longer, but also this is what I really like to see when I do socks. Just a second. I really like these sock blockers, by the way. I'll show them to you again in a minute. But I like that when I fold these in half, they are the same length. It makes me so happy.
The small things that bring us joy.
My socks, the length that I like my leg, actually, it ends up being the same as my foot as well. So
that's fun.
I like that. And I'll show you this. These are some vintage sock blockers that my mother-in-law found for me. And they are adjustable. I've shown these once before.
It's been a long time, though.
They're adjustable. So if my husband had gigantor feet, let's see.
So
I can't seem to do this.
If Kay Jones was going to knit these for her husband, for Dan.
Yes, right here. That's a massive
Wow.
foot.
Wow.
There you go.
So if you can ski without skis, you could still use these sock blockers.
My daughter's boyfriend, he wears size 13. He has that.
Oh, gracious.
I told him, I'm never knitting socks for you. I'm sorry. There is no way I would ever knit socks for you because how...
Knit them leg warmers. You can pretend they're socks. Just tuck them into his shoes.
Anyways. Okay, there is...
That's wonderful.
The Twinkle Toe pair of socks.
And that's always happy when you finish a project that you've just been looking at for a long time.
Actually, I did not like knitting this sock, and you heard that. And then I cast on the second one, and all of a sudden, something magical happened where I loved the yarn. I don't know what the deal was. It was probably because I was around all these sparkly colors and everything, and it's a beautiful, I don't know what my problem was. It's beautiful.
Very lovely.
I just did not enjoy the first sock, and the second one went really fast because I all of a sudden liked it. I don't know. So
I don't know. Maybe it was because it was after Christmas, and so you were done trying to go for sparkle or something.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Although you still managed to get a little bit of it in there.
Yes. Maybe that should be my goal, to put a little sparkle in everything.
Aww.
My husband would really appreciate that on
just
his
a
hats.
little tiny bit. Make sure there's just a tiny bit of sparkle and everything. Well, I have only one finished object, and I left it home. And that's because I was wearing them, and I washed them, and they're still sitting folded up on my counter, not put away, so I didn't even think about it.
Oh,
anyway,
bring them next.
So I'll just bring them next time, but I love them. They're really cute. But I can tell you about some of this. This is finished object, meaning squares that are finished. I have had so much fun knitting on my blanket again. I finished one whole row. I think I may have shown this. Wait, which row was it? Hold on. I gotta find, where's it jingling? There it is.
Where's the jingle?
So I finished knitting this whole row with mini skeins that I got from my Christmas advent. And then I've started another row. And they're just so fun. I am just having so much fun. So it's like one of those gifts that keeps on giving. Because I don't have time to knit a square every day. But every few days I'll sit down and put one or two in. Mm-hmm. And so it's lasting me obviously much longer than 1 month. But it's just so fun. Look at how all these fun colors. So this one looks super like bright, but it's more, slightly more muted than it's showing up.
Yeah, that does look really bright on screen.
It's really fun. And I because my sweet partner Kimberly gave me a matching progress keeper for every mini skein, I decided, and I did this on the whole row, I kept them on the square until I finished the whole row, and then I took them all off. But it's just kind of fun to use them and keep them on there.
We went to lunch back at Fiber Festival, I can't remember, with Christy and Tristan from Girls in the Yarn Cafe and Audrey from Knit Song Podcast, or Knit a Little Song on Instagram. And we were working on socks. Tristan was knitting some socks, and there was a guy that came up and was like, "What are you guys doing?" And he saw Tristan's socks. He's like, "What are on those?" He's like, "How do you wear these socks?" He was so confused. She's like, "You don't leave them on. You don't." But it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I've had many people ask me that about stitch markers. You know, like when you're working on a sweater and you've got like, or a lace project where you're marking every pattern repeat and you've got like tons of stitch markers going across, and people will be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen anybody knit, or I've never seen anything like that where it's got things like that hanging." I'm like, "No, this is not part of the finished product." Anyway.
So it's fun.
So I'm up to 148 squares on my blanket.
Good job.
I've only got like 8 bajillion more to go.
I was working on my fusion blanket this last week for quite a while, but it seems like there's just no progress to show you. Well, it's because I was sewing a whole bunch of squares together, like the squares to get ready to turn and stuff, and then I quilt, and then I blanket stitch, and then I, so there's a lot before I even get to the crocheting around the edge, which is really almost the very last thing. So
sometimes you have those projects though where it's like it feels like everything is just microscopic, and then all of a sudden you get to that point and it's just like put it together, yeah. And
that's what will happen with this one, because I'm just trying to get it all to that stage where I can crochet around all of them, because I don't really like crocheting, I've decided. So I don't want to do it a lot, for a long period. I would rather just, when I get to that point, just do it and get it done. So
I really have been actually craving crochet lately, but then I sat down to try and teach Abby some crochet, and I immediately got frustrated with that. We're teaching her to knit. I don't get frustrated.
Oh, really?
I don't. I'm totally fine. Like, she can mess up as many times. I'm like, "Oh, let me fix that for you. Oh, let me show you." I'm like super patient. Yeah. But I was trying to teach her some crochet. I was like, "No, just let me do it." Like, I just couldn't.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I think that
I want to teach my kids because I'm not very good at it,
I think that the other thing about crochet is it hurts my hands more until I get farther into something. When I'm holding a little piece. So there was a while that I was working on a project that was lace crochet, and it was little motifs that you then attach together. I couldn't keep going with it because every single motif was a little thing. But I could do like a filet crochet piece that's big, and it's the same or more complicated of lace, the same weight, the same hook size. But it's actually my left hand from holding the little teeny piece that I'm working into.
That beginning chain. When you go and do the first,
all right in here.
I know my hands already hurt, and my elbow and my shoulder. I haven't been knitting again. I know. I mean, I've done some, but it's okay. I need more of a break.
Yeah.
Which is painful right now because all of my projects.
See, they're coming because they hear that your shoulder and your elbow.
So I look at all of my projects lined up, and I'm really excited about all of them, and they're calling to me in my sleep.
It's so hard. And I know so many people, talking to Faye, who is from Bea and Rose podcast. She's in the same position where her shoulder is killing her and she can't knit right now. And I'm like, knitters, we got to figure this out. We got to figure out balance so that we can enjoy our hobby. Because, I mean, I've been in the same boat. I know, it's so hard. But, you know, we also need to take care of our bodies. And, like, you know, like you were talking about on our last podcast, get up and do the dishes or, you know, brush our teeth.
Yeah.
I don't think you brought that one up. That was apparently just me.
My backside would thank me for that as well. Yeah, because hours of sitting. I actually started swimming.
Oh.
First of all, I hate swimming. I'm just going to tell you.
I didn't know this.
I hate swimming. I've never liked the water. Like, not like I'm opposed to showering, I'm just going to say. But I've never liked the water much. And I especially hate having my face under the water. But I started swimming because I decided I wanted to be a better example of healthy living for my family.
Nice.
And I didn't want to be prematurely old. But I can't do yoga because that's really hard on my wrists, and I really like yoga. I even started running.
Was anybody chasing you?
My dog. I'm running because my dog has cabin fever.
Yeah. I'm simultaneously proud of you and slightly afraid right now.
Well, people that see me running are also slightly afraid. But anyways, so wait, there was something with the swimming.
Swimming. And we were talking about how our rear ends will thank us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my rear end will thank me for swimming later. I've been more active. So I've been taking my girls. So my youngest goes with me swimming and I take one of her friends. And then my older two have gone to Zumba and yoga classes while I'm swimming. So that's been kind of good.
There's a Zumba group starting in my neighborhood and I'm debating maybe joining.
You know why I like swimming?
But I don't know if I love those people enough or trust them enough to Zumba in front of them.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. When I was younger, one of my dreams is to learn to dance, and especially belly dance.
I remember
And I signed up for a belly dancing class. And I paid for it, and I was getting ready to start, and then they sent out the schedule, and I saw in there that there was a day where you were going to create your own dance and perform it for the group as a solo, and then everybody was going to do those solos at a festival in a park, like in front of people. No, I only do solo things because I am not going to solitary. I'm not going to make a fool of myself in front of everybody. Well, here I'm making a fool of myself in front of everybody.
But you're not belly dancing.
But I'm not belly dancing. So instead I got some videos and I've been learning it at home.
Belly dancing knitting podcast.
Can we combine the two? I bet we could.
I bet you could.
So anyways.
I know. I have this dream of learning how to do ballroom dancing. The problem is that my husband does not have the same dream.
My husband does not want to dance at all.
And then I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just really not comfortable with partnering with somebody else.
I'm the same way.
So
I've learned quite a few different ballroom dances solo. So I really have no idea how I would be with a partner, but I can do
Maybe we should partner. That would be really creepy.
I'm just imagining this is going to be really, really entertaining. Well, my husband has asked for years to see the belly dancing, and I said, no, it is more of a comedy routine than it is alluring. So he still hasn't seen it. Okay, let's move on to some knitting.
Well, I have to say, I feel like I've kind of lost my knitting mojo a little bit. But as I was gathering at my projects, I realized why. Because everything is stockinette stitch.
Oh.
I don't have anything going. Well, my blanket is garter. I don't have anything interesting happening right now.
You need to do some more designing.
I really do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you need to do some designing to go with some things that we're going to show a little bit later.
Probably. That's what we say when we're joking around with our kids.
Yesterday, my husband at dinner tried to construct a paragraph consisting of all of the words that I cannot stand and their incorrect pronunciations. I left dinner. I was like, I'm done.
I would have laughed. That would have been so fun.
It was painful. Okay, so I've been knitting a lot of things, but I'm just gonna show a couple of here.
Okay.
I've been watching Amber on Yarn Hoarder, and I've been watching. I can't remember. There's 2 other podcasters that I've watched that have 3 that have a sock knitting machine.
There's a few of them, I know.
Really? I dream of it at night. And after I watch them show all of their socks and how quick it is to knit them, I start picturing that like maybe I could be a sock knitting machine if I just knit really, really quick and just keep going. And I do. So I got out my 9-inch circular and I'm like, I'm just going to do long tubes like they're doing, and then I'll do afterthought everything. So I'm going to do a long tube. I'll cast on cuff, knit the leg, the foot, the leg, and cast off. And if I do it with my 9-inch...
And with the ribbing for
and
the
with
other
the
sock?
ribbing. And then I will go and do afterthought cuffs, heels, and toes. So it's just the afterthought everything socks. On the 9-inch circular, I'm not kidding, actually. I was, like, zooming. I could be a sock knitting machine if my hands and elbow would let me. I think that's what did me in, is that... done me in. It done me in. My fair lady.
Eliza Doolittle.
So, anyways, these are now going to sit and wait for a while. But it went really fast.
That's
so
that
I think
hedgehog,
it's a good
right?
plan. Nope, this one is actually from Knit Song Yarns.
Oh, that's
and
right.
And it's called Telegraph Avenue. Oh, I love it.
It's so pretty.
Look at this. Like how I yell it. Look at this. I love this yarn. Love it. Love it.
That is beautiful.
And I've got
Audrey,
my contrasting. This is from Yarn Cafe Creations.
I use that for the heels and the socks that I forgot to bring.
Oh, yeah, we got these for Christmas. And so this one's got some Stellina. It's not quite the bubblegum pink that I thought I had one that was a little more, but it'll look beautiful with it. So when I'm done with my knitting hiatus, then I'm going to pick this up again and try and be a little bit more moderate in my knitting. So
moderation. Ugh. Moderation is annoying.
It is.
Can't we just do it all? I know it's really hard.
So here's from winding. Okay.
That is a beautiful little cake there.
I love. It takes me forever to do it like this because I just like wind all slow, and isn't this lovely and so enjoyable? I could do that all day long, I feel like.
I'll bring you some yarn.
I enjoy doing that a lot.
All right. Speaking of cake, by the way, I made a cake yesterday. A layer cake from scratch. This doesn't happen.
Well done, Emily.
I love to bake. I make excellent cinnamon rolls and cookies and brownies and all kinds of stuff. But when it comes to cake, you've always been the cake maker, not me.
I saw your post that you were going to make one. I'm like, I think I've made that one before.
Probably. I actually ended up making a different recipe. Oh. I posted that one, then I was like, oh, no, I don't have that one ingredient. So anyway, it turned out really cute. My cakes sunk in the middle, but I just filled them in with extra icing, so it's all good. I don't know why it works.
If you fill it with cheesecake filling, it's even better.
I didn't have time, but it was really delicious. And it reminded me, I found a picture, and I will have you insert it. So I found a picture of that one time where the girl who had never even successfully made a layer birthday cake volunteered to make our sister's wedding cake.
I was floored when I heard that, and then you brought it in. I was like, stunning, amazing, beautiful cake.
That's because it was all of the flaws were hidden by ribbon and flowers.
Doesn't matter.
But I made it, and it's a really bad picture, so forgive the really bad picture. But
yeah, I
made my sister's wedding cake, and it was the most stressful thing. I swear. It was so stressful. And I was like, I will never do this ever.
The last wedding cake that I made was for my brother. After that, I decided I was done. I was never making another wedding cake again.
You made a lot of them, and they were beautiful.
They wanted a carrot cake wedding cake.
And she's gluten-free.
And, it didn't need to be gluten-free. We had a separate one that was gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
But the style was a really tall cake, and tall cakes are difficult to keep really straight, and they're heavy. But carrot cake is really heavy. And then you add cream cheese frosting, which is not really stable.
And is also heavy.
Mm-hmm. So we had a really tall carrot cake that was, really, anyways. And then another layer on top. So transporting that gave me a heart attack. I had to drive.
And the whole time you're like, this is not just like a cake. This is somebody's wedding cake. Yep.
And my brother, who's trusting me with this, which was really stressful because his wife at the time, she was just wanting everything anyways. Doesn't matter. Don't need to get into that. But anyways, so driving up to the location, I had my daughter in the front seat holding it. And when you're holding that, you have to as you bump, you have to be moving the cake to balance it out. Because I couldn't just put it in the back. I normally have these non-slip pads and I have each layer separate and I have them in different boxes and stuff. But with this one, we had to hold it. So she's holding it and it was, anyways, we were getting onto the freeway and somebody cut in front of me, just went right in front of me, and I had to slam on my brakes and she had to catch the cake. And the top is sliding and we've got handprints all over and it was a nightmare. So we get back up there and I brought more frosting and I have to bring everything to be prepared, but we have the poles and everything in cakes. You have things to help stabilize it, skewers and everything, but after it had shifted so much, there was only so much I could do. So when they went to cut their cake, they went to cut it and it started falling over because it was they wanted really tall and narrow, and the top gluten-free cake was a lot more dense than the bottom, and it started falling and I was like, this is a nightmare. That was the last cake. The end.
Well, the wonderful thing about that is that cake was beautiful. And so just like with our sister Catherine's cake, I knew every flaw, and there were plenty of them, but nobody else really noticed them or anything. But why did I do that? That was the most hilarious
thing. Because we love our siblings.
But I volunteered. She didn't ask me. I was like, oh, I'll make the cake.
Good job. What? Because we're industrious, Emily. We're we could do anything. We're Mormon Utahns.
I'll do that.
Sorry, we do everything.
Oh my gosh, okay. It's true. Okay. It's true. Well, let's move on.
I have to say though, we have done so many weddings in our family that we looked and seriously contemplated opening our own wedding.
We have done catering. We have done the decor, the flowers,
the venues,
the dresses, the cakes, everything. The centerpieces.
Yeah, we've done all of it many times. Okay, on to some more knitting, Emily.
I have. This is the yarn I got for my birthday, and if I remember correct, this was not labeled. I bought this at Colorful Yarns in Colorado, and it's not really showing up that pretty. Here, let me get it closer to the camera. There, you can see all the pretty texture and lovely color. I think it's Scrumptious. I want to say Scrumptious Purl something. Whatever it is, I love it. And it's turning out so cute in these socks. This oatmeal-y color, and then this bright mint and purple. And then I've added this pink, which is a Piraten Vola, which I've put in. It's just a skein I'm going to use for heel, toes, and cuffs because it's a nice neutral.
It's a great one.
It's a good neutral. Hot pink. So, it matches my nails. Anyway, so that's how much I have done on those. And I'm putting an afterthought heel in. But I don't like to snip my yarn, so I think it's a really good idea, the way Amber does it, where she does an afterthought heel, because that way she can change the size of the sock. She can decide once she's ready to put the heel in what size she's making the sock, and then the leg can just be longer or shorter based on how long the foot is. But since I'm knitting these for me, I knit a little scrap of yarn in
you go and remove
that I can then pull it out. And so I don't have additional, I don't have anything to clip, and I don't have all those extra 2 more ends to weave in. I just pull that out, and then I've got an opening to insert my heel. So I've got that much done, and I'm doing a shorter leg. It's only that long on these.
Do you like yours shorter?
For me, I have socks of both kinds. I like both of them. I like them a little shorter. I don't like them super high for me. The tallest socks I have are I don't measure. I count rows because let's face it, half the time I don't have a measuring tape with me. So I just want to make sure that I count rows. So the longest leg I do is, I always do a 20, or almost always do a 20 row cuff, and then a 50 row heel, or leg is the longest one I ever make for myself.
I always measure because when I do rows,
they change.
It just seems like I'm always off. When I did my husband's, I counted rows and then did the toe and realized I was off by, I don't know, between a quarter and half an inch. So,
there you go.
So I always measure. Though when you measure, things shift and,
Yeah, I know.
In the end, it all works.
Yeah.
So. Okay, here's my bag that I made for Christmas, for my Christmas Eve cast on.
I saw you posted one of those.
I had two of these bags
gorgeous.
2 more that I had made that sold. I wish I could sew faster because I really enjoy doing them, and they sell so fast, and I feel bad that they're gone. But if you didn't have a life, it doesn't make sense for me as a seller to post things and wish that they would stay a little bit longer. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I like, they should stay so more people can see them. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, so this is yarn from Little Tailoress, and it is called All the Christmas Candy.
So pretty.
And this is my Christmas Eve cast on. I'll tell you the pattern in just a minute once I untwist things here.
I'm twisted as well here. I don't like it when that happens.
So I'm just past the heel. I did this minty green for the cuff and this kind of raspberry red for the heel. And I used Emily's, what is it called?
Candy floss.
Candy floss sock pattern for the heel. For the cuff. And I like it because it's kind of this little twisted cable kind of. And then I did a slip stitch heel, and the back has these little cables down the back of the leg. The pattern has it going all the way down the heel, but I wanted more of a reinforced heel, and I wanted a contrasting heel. So the pattern is called Skedaddle by Lena, Gjerald, yeah. I'm guessing. I always ask Emily, because she speaks a million languages, apparently.
0. Not even English very well.
So that one was a paid for pattern on Ravelry, I believe. It was. You can't quote me on that one, but anyways, I like the little notions pouch that I got from Little Tailoress. It is so cute.
What was this yarn called again?
All the Christmas Candy.
Oh, it's
got
pretty.
Silver stellina. And then she sent 2 little minis as well with it that I showed, that I was using. And they don't have a name that I am aware of. I mean, I'm sure they have a name. I just don't know what they are. And this one has some silver stellina. You kind of can see it. This one does not. But you can see why all of my knitting projects just call to me at night.
Yeah.
They're like, come, knit on me. This will be fun, I promise. And then my elbow says, why? Why do you keep doing this to me? So,
see, we're in the exact opposite. Like, I sit down to knit, and I'm just kind of like, which is so weird. I'm never like that. It'll go. I mean, it'll pass. I'm sure. I'm not worried about it.
A lot less painfully, too, than other things that pass, like kidney stones. And,
yes.
Oh, heater's on. Gotta turn the heater off.
Okay.
Oh, that was nice.
We're going to let the heat stay on for a little bit. But if it starts rattling like mad, then we'll
It usually makes a lot of noise.
So this project is in my awesome Star Trek bag from Deborah. I love it. And I've just made more progress on the socks that I'm knitting for. They were going to be for my husband, this pair. And in fact, it's really funny because I was working on show notes, and so I was watching last week's podcast, or last time. And my husband was overhearing the podcast, and he's like, he heard me talk about this kind of gray and that kind of gray, a bluish gray and a grayish blue, and he's like, wait, are you talking about me? And I said, yes. here I was knitting you these socks that you didn't know about. And he's like, oh, that's wonderful. So I had him try them on, and they don't fit. They're too big.
Oh.
So, but my son has a very, very wide foot, and they will fit him. So these are like the widest socks ever, right in here. Look how wide that is.
How come you made them that wide for your husband? Because he doesn't.
Well, because he tried on a pair of mine one time, and he was like, oh, they're just way too tight. Because they don't, he's so funny. His big thing is these aren't stretchy enough.
Yeah.
And so I just think he felt like they were too tight. So
they fit different than socks that you buy at the store.
Well, what I realized is that not only had I added 4 stitches, I only added 4 to the circumference, but for some insane reason, I added like 4 rows to the heel flap, which means that now the gusset area is just really wide. So now I'm back to just the 4, but like right through the heel, it's very large, which will be perfect for my son. So these are now socks for my son. I'm really not that much farther into them. But this one will be for my husband.
I almost bought that. I went with my husband to the yarn store to have him pick out yarn. And he just was looking at it all like,
oh.
He's like, maybe we could use a little more gray. So I was like, what about this one? You know, the one out there. And he's like, yeah, that's okay. I'm like, if you're not that enthusiastic about it, I'm not knitting.
Right, no kidding. Not knitting some gray socks. So the one that I'm knitting here is, this is a Schoppel jeans ball. And this color is called Mueller's Esel. Anyway, so that's what I'm knitting right now for my son. And what's really hilarious is that the last pair of socks I knit for him, when I pulled these out, he says, you already knit me those socks, Mom. I'm like, what? So I had him go and get the last pair of socks. They're not the same yarn. It is almost identical. They're actually just stripes of the blue instead of like kind of scattery half stripes. The colors are identical.
That's funny.
So he'll have another pair, but they're too small for him. So
there you go.
Whatever.
I'm just replacing that pair.
But the bag is awesome, but the socks are boring. I don't want to work on them.
Okay.
I'm pouting.
You need to design some stuff. You'll have more fun.
I will.
That's what I'm doing right here.
Yes. Oh. Ooh.
Okay. In my knitting bucket list, I would like more cowls. I've decided that shawls are not as much my thing. They're fun to knit and they're fun to wear, but they're fussy. They're kind of finicky.
Yeah.
I can't keep them perfectly in place all the time.
Perfectly.
And so like I'll use a shawl pin and that helps, but I'm always having to readjust it, and that kind of irritates me. I'm not saying I'm not knitting shawls anymore. I'm just saying I need more cowls. But I can't find just the cowl I want, and I want to use fingering weight yarn because I have a lot of it, and I can use that longer. So I can use it earlier in the year, and I can use it later in the year. So I just thought I'm just going to start knitting some cowls, kind of doing my own thing. So this one I have cast on several times because I was trying to get the gauge just how I wanted and the stitch count how I wanted it. And so I started with a smaller needle and increased to a larger needle here, and it's got a braided cable ribbing throughout it, and then I will increase as I go down in stitch count, so that what I want it to look like is I want it to look like a shawl that's draped around, but not actually be a shawl.
So it will stay perfectly in place.
So it will stay in place.
Or if it wiggles, you won't be able to tell.
Exactly. And this is the one that's calling to me all night, and I can't work on it now. So
that is beautiful.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
I am very excited for you to have this done. Are you going to publish it?
I don't know. I don't know how to publish a pattern.
I could probably help you out, maybe.
We'll see how it goes and if it works out how I want. So the yarn, I love red. Love red. This isn't quite the red that's me. This is a little little warmer of a red. I would like a little more cool tone, but I just love red, so can't go wrong there. This is also MJ Yarns Sophistisock, and it's called Dragon's Blood.
Ooh.
So this one is a 75 superwash merino, 15% nylon, 10% tencel.
Oh, so it's going to have a nice drape in it.
Yeah, it definitely will drape nice with the fingering weight and anyways, and that's definitely what I would like.
That's so pretty.
If this works well, I want to see if I could make this in several different weights of yarn as well, so you could get warmer and, you know, so we'll see. That's all I've got done.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I'm so excited to see what you do with that. Thanks. And I love your bag.
Oh, this is my bag that I got from Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. This is by Mini Castle Designs. This is our friend Victoria. We also know her as the Huntress. She plays the greatest villain in our events that we do in the year for the girls. She's so good. She's good at being bad.
Scary.
She is fabulous.
And fabulous.
Yeah. So it has this tag that she puts on all of her bags that I can't take it off because the tag is so cute. It says, "It is important to remember that we all have magic inside us." So it's her business card that's got some information on the back.
Fantastic.
But, I also got a Birdie Bots Every Flavor Bean pin. Did you get that? Did Richard get it for you? Oh, you called him, remember? You said, "Remember, get me this pin."
Oh, they didn't actually end up going. We never have been.
So we went at Christmas time
still there.
It goes until January 10th or 11th, so today or tomorrow?
I thought it was to the end of January. I'm looking it up.
It's Harry Potter shops that they have set up in one of the local malls here, and it's a pilot kind of thing that they're trying out here first, because apparently we are the biggest Harry Potter fans, I'm just gonna say.
Well, we're the geekiest state in the country.
We really are.
Meaning that there are more people obsessed with different fandoms in Utah than pretty much like a higher concentration.
Love this.
Yeah, it says to January 31st.
Ooh, so you can still go.
Good. I want to go.
It's fun. I mean, it's all just one kind of big area with little shop, you know, with little things that you can buy, but the outside is really fun. It's like a mini, not Honeydukes. What's wrong with my brain?
Diagon Alley?
Yeah, kind of like that. Around the outside, it has different windows and things. Like if you were to go to Universal Studios, the windows are kind of mini replicas of some of those. Yeah, they were saying if it goes well, it's going to be something that travels to like different states and sets up in the mall. And they even had a wand demonstration, like wand. My brain is not working today. Like a choosing of the wand, wand selection thing, which was kind of fun. That's fun. All right. Well, fun. That's the last of my knitting here. Okay, I have one more knitting project, which is my faded sweater I've been working on again. And I actually decided to change the order I was doing things in, so I've gone right in to this gorgeous, speckly, fantastically lovely yarn that it's very pretty. It's so pretty. It's got like purple, pale pink, minty green, gold. Pretty much it's just you. Just, yeah. It's the color of your personality. Heart. Yeah. My heart is a speckly yarn. So I'm to here. I like on the needles, it looks like, you know those dresses, the bubble dresses that were popular for a while? On the needles. There you go. That's where it goes. And so I'm getting there. It's going to be a long, I mean, this is actually from under the armhole, so I want it to be fairly long. So I've got this color and two more to go after it. This is from Bea and Rose. And let's see if I can remember the colorway. Oh, darn it. I don't think I have. I love it, by the way. Oh, darn it is my favorite knit-worthy epitaph. Anyway, here's the yarn. That's really pretty. I will have to post in the show notes the colorway because I don't have the tag with me. It surprises me. I should remember yours because you remember mine. Well, the funny thing about it is, I mean, it's in previous
episode's show notes as well, but I'll post it. But she gifted this. She gave this to me, and that was such a lovely surprise. It is so pretty. So I love it. And
we should just rename it The Color of Emily's Heart.
The Color of Emily's Soul.
Not your heart, sorry.
After that is coming this one. Whoa. So in some ways I am excited. I really want to knit with these yarns. I just don't want to.
Just don't want to knit what you're knitting with those yarns.
Maybe I'll just start throwing random lace rows. I don't know. We're just going to make this up. But I'm just using the Flax Light pattern for my pattern. And then I'm altering it from there. It's
Flax Light pattern-ish.
Yeah, that was the inspiration. That gave me my starting stitch count. We'll go with that.
That sounds good.
So I'm working on that. It'll be done just in time for it to get hot outside. And then I'll wear it next year. Okay.
So that's all of my knitting. I have some sewing. Ooh. So Emily has some sewing that she's wearing.
My blouse.
So pretty.
Yep. It's just a fun, light rayon. I have worn t-shirts. Granted, they've all been t-shirts I've made, but I've worn t-shirts for years. Mm-hmm. Just because, honestly, when you're plus size, sometimes it's just hard for things to fit you the way you want them to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if I want it to fit here, it doesn't fit here, blah, blah, blah. Well, t-shirts fit. So I got sick of t-shirts all in one day and was like, I'm done. And I went out and bought fabric, and I have discovered a great, deep, passionate love for rayon. I know that's a really funny thing. But it's so, like, drapey, but not clingy, and soft and breathable and light and fresh. I just love it.
Rayon's better than polyester.
Oh yeah, well rayon is made from wood, just like tencel is. I mean, it's a man-made fiber, but it is made from, anyway, it's made from wood.
Yeah.
Tencel and rayon are very similar. And so it's just really light and breathable, whereas polyester is basically plastic.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying polyester is always bad, because sometimes it's great, but...
Especially those double knit polyester pants.
Oh. Really? Just joking. So anyway, but yeah, so I've made myself 3 tops, and I have fabric sitting, waiting for me. I have 3 more, and I have 2 more fabrics I'm probably picking up today. So I'm just making myself a whole bunch of new tops, and they're so light and easy, and I feel really cute in them. So.
And you look cute in them.
In fact, with the haircut and the top, I've actually had people flirting with me. Not that that's a great thing. I'm very happily married. But, you know, there's the 2 different kinds of flirting. There's that's a creepo. He would flirt with anything that was breathing. And it's not actually flirting. He's just like, anyway, there's that kind. Well, whatever. That happens to everybody. But actual like, hey, he looks like a nice human being kind of flirting. Like, thank you. I'm good. But
thanks for the compliment.
Thanks for the boost. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't understand the cat calling, because what I want to know is, does anybody actually think it's ever going to...
No, they don't.
...bring any type of thing to fruition?
No, nobody is catcalling because they're trying to start a relationship. It's just you are an object that I am commenting on. That is all it is.
That's really, really obnoxious.
Yeah.
So one time I had some catcalling. This was the best part. So I'm walking out of the store, and there were these 2 guys that were whistling and calling after me, and I was like 9 months pregnant, but they only saw me from behind, so it was great when I turned around and I brought my stomach with me, and they saw me and they're like, ooh. So great. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Okay. So last time I was wearing a tunic, and I had a couple of people ask me about the tunic and which pattern I used. So this is what I had. It was sparkly because, you know,
and I love that
need
you
a little
put
bit
a
of
tag
bling.
in it.
You know what? My mother always put a little ribbon.
Yeah, she did.
Loop or bow or something, and she put that in there so that you knew where the front was or the back was. You know, so this was the back. So I always do that. And I'm like, oh, I actually have some tags for my bags, so I'll stick that in there. So you don't have to use a
folded over piece of ribbon.
Yeah. So this, you can't really see. It's all black and everything.
And sparkly. Love the glitter.
I made the McCalls M7122 pattern. And I did view B for the length and view A for the sleeve length. But with view B, I curved the bottom hem. And I made the front slightly shorter, just barely like 1.5 inches shorter than the back. Oh, it looks like 1 inch. So I used the same, let's see if you can see. I just curved the hem so it was more like, it's like a jersey
shirt tail
tee.
Kind of, or baseball tee or something. Yeah,
kind of shape
Cute.
to it. And I put a pocket in. I made this for when we went to Disneyland. All of my girls were Disney bounding as different characters, and I thought, well, I'm just going to sparkle everywhere. That's what I'm going to do. But I needed pockets to hold my stuff, especially my phone. So I put a pocket in, and I put a gigantic pocket in because I have a gigantic phone because I can't see very well. It's so big, we call it my phablet. So
yep, it's the same as this one, isn't it? It's
yeah,
that size.
It's the S. Anyways, but the problem is because my phone is so heavy and this is stretchy and drapey that it weighs down and you could see it below the hem. So I'm going to go in and make the. This is just a pocket that I made up. You know, I just drew it out. I'm gonna just make it smaller. I'm just gonna sew it smaller, trim it down. Nice. But I'll tell you a couple of things that I did. Knits are really simple and forgiving. Yeah, they are. Sometimes, especially when you have something that's longer, the seams will like to wave and warp, or they just don't hold up because they're pulling too much on it and the stitches might give, or it just doesn't hold up as well. So I did on seams that you would see a little bit more or might get a little more attention on them. So here's where the sleeve, all of a sudden, what's wrong with me? The raglan sleeve. I did what's called I don't think you can see, a flat felled seam. I'll show you on the inside. It's black and black and black. Oh, you can't really see.
Maybe you can take some pictures.
Right there. I did a flat felled seam, and it helps it lay really smooth. I think what I'll do is I'll put a link in our show notes to what a flat felled seam is and how to do that. It was really simple. It didn't take any extra fabric because these patterns require a 5/8 inch seam allowance, which is quite large. Yeah. Which I usually just trim down, but that gave me enough to work with. And then the back, I don't know the name of what this type of seam is called, but it's where you just sew right sides together. I open the seam up and I fold both ends under and stitch down both sides, so it's kind of like a hem on both sides, but
makes it nice
you
and
can't
finished.
Really see it makes it nice and finished, but a lot more sturdy.
It's a lot like reinforcing the seams or the neckline of your knits with a piece of ribbon, so that you just have that extra support.
Yes. So I don't know the name of this type of seam, so I actually had been searching for it. Maybe it's something I made up, but I highly doubt it. So I can't really link to it because I haven't found it. But if you know what in the world I'm talking about, you could put it in the comments below. So that is nice. The tunic that I made, and I actually would like a lot more tunics. That was kind of my goal, was to make more
really
of
cute
them.
on you too. It fits so nice.
I just like them because you can wear them in the winter with your shawls or cowls or jackets and leggings and boots, or you could wear it in the summer just as is, you know. So I like tunics a lot, and I like knits because they're forgiving as well and comfy.
Well, the thing I'm loving about this is that it's not clingy. I like that it just kind of skims everything.
Yeah, it should fall away.
Very forgiving
from your body.
But yeah, it's fun.
And
I just decided my whole closet is now filled with things I don't wear. So they're going away. Yeah. I'm filling it up with my lights and brights, which I love, and just a few of my favorite things.
I think that's good.
Yep.
We should have that. a few of your favorite things, clothing that you have.
Oh, your favorite clothing items? Okay.
Let's do that.
I like that. We'll do that another time.
I was doing that this morning, going through my wardrobe and just culling it, pulling tons of things out. Like, unless I love it and I wear it all the time, I don't have room. I have a tiny little house and I don't need that much stuff. So I just want the things that I love.
The thing that I find I run into a lot, and I know a lot of other plus size ladies do, is that I have a scarcity mentality when it comes to clothing, because it's so hard to find something that fits or that even you can wear that's not, I don't know. It's just really hard. It's really hard. And it's getting easier. There are more and more companies that are actually carrying plus sizes, and there's cuter things coming out. But it's still really, really hard. And so I find that it's like, well, it's doable. Doable is something that I keep. And doable isn't good enough.
Yeah.
I don't want
It's not good enough for you. It's not good enough for you guys either.
No. So I'm just getting to that point where I'm like, I'm not going to do that. If I wear the same 5 shirts every day, but I love them,
you'll feel better.
I love that so much. Not every day, because I wouldn't wear 5 shirts in a day, but you get what I was trying to go for.
Rotate through 5 shirts.
That's better than if I have 15 tops that I don't like.
Doable.
That are doable. I want to look fabulous.
Yes. Should look and feel fabulous. Yep. I bought this jacket.
It's
because
fabulous.
I think it's fabulous.
It is.
My family thinks it's funny. They're like, Mom, that is really... Anyways, just all the embroidery and it's
Since when do we trust teenage girls for their style?
Well, my husband saw it. He's like, I'm not sure. But I love it. I love it. So I got it. And I was doing that when I was looking at it. I love it. Why am I concerned with what anybody else thinks about it? I'm going to wear it because I love it.
Yep.
Okay, some more sewing things. This is sewing related. My sister Alexis painted this. It's watercolor. She painted and drew it for a friend and printed an extra one for me. Let's see if it won't I hope it won't reflect too much.
Oh, it's so cute.
Love it. Love it. Love it. It's going in my sewing room. Well, it's been in my sewing room.
So fun.
It is really fun. And she was saying, oh, Deborah, don't judge this. You're so much better at painting. I am not at all better at painting than
It's so cute. I love it.
She is so good at this.
She is really good.
So I had to show that to you.
That's so fun.
So my dog, I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. I started reading The Harvester by Jean Stratton Porter yesterday.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
At the beginning, they have the harvester, and he relies on his dog to make major life decisions for him. So his dog's response determines what he's going to do. And he asked his dog about this major life decision, and his dog chose different than he wanted, and he was so upset that he struck his dog and rejected and like shunned his dog, and his dog was, you know, like whimpering and off in the corner, sad, like, just pay attention to me, please forgive me, I love you, you know. And I started crying. I was so sad for the dog that I had to go inside and find my Luna and hold her and tell her, I love you, I love you. I love my dog, and I love dogs now. Before that, I thought that was a little bit kind of crazy. Well, I've gone off crazy land, so I even have bought my puppy a crown. So her name is Luna, but we also call her Pretty Pretty Princess sometimes. So I had to make her some scarves. This one is actually an extra one.
That's so cute.
This one's pink and gold, and it has gold trim. And so I've decided I just need her to wear a pretty, pretty scarf for the Pretty Pretty Princess every single day. So I've started making a whole bunch of them. This is an extra one because I had extra really fabric. But making dog scarves, why is it that is so entertaining? It's a triangle. Come on, people. But it is so fun. It is so fun. I kind of want to bring her in, but Emily is not a dog person so much.
I have no problem with her being in.
No, you have no problem. But not previously not being a dog person.
Yeah.
I didn't get the crazy.
I have to share.
I have full gone down crazy land. I mean, she has pajamas.
Deborah, if I had a dog, you know I would be right there with you.
You totally would be.
Okay, totally. You know that. I have to share something that has been like really huge for us. So 3 members of my 3 of my 4 children are allergic to animals. And then my 4th child, who's not allergic, has a very severe phobia to dogs. And we're talking severe, like it's completely stopped him from experiencing half of the things he wants to do because he's so afraid. Yeah. We've done counseling, all kinds of things. So we've been through the ringer. In the last few months, he is starting to get past that in ways that I didn't know if he ever would. Mm-hmm. And he loves Luna.
I'm so happy.
He loves her. He loves her so much. In fact, today he came with me over here to podcast. And I'm like, did you bring anything to do? Because a lot of times Deborah's girls are busy. And my one boy with her 3 girls today, I'm like, what are you going to do? You know? And he was like, I'm going to play with Luna. That's all I want to do. And he just loves her so much. Yeah. And yesterday he said to me, Mom, I'm having a really bad day. He was just frustrated and having a bad day. He goes, can we go visit a dog? Oh, like what? I mean, this is my child. Wow. That if you said, we're going to go to so-and-so's house, he would start crying. Because he thought that maybe he might see a dog because maybe they own one, even if he doesn't know they did. Mm-hmm. Like, it was so severe. Yeah. We couldn't go to parks. He won't go on walks. Like, all kinds of stuff. It was just been really, really challenging. And so, this is huge.
That is huge.
It's so big. And if you don't have somebody who has a phobia, like a true diagnosed phobia, not just like I don't like spiders kind of thing, but like... unreasoning fear that stops you participating in life. You don't understand how extreme that is, but it has been so huge. And he has since then went to visit some friends of ours who they have a dog. And I said, do you want to go and hang out with him? He really loves this family, but he was afraid because in the past because they had dogs. And they used to have 3 dogs and 2 of them were really big. Now they just have the one small dog. And I said, well, they only have Marshmallow now. And he says, he sat there for a minute and he said, if somebody will hold the dog and so I can meet the dog, then I'm okay to go over there. And I'm like, okay, we can totally arrange that. And this family understands. So they were awesome about it. And he played with that dog the whole night and he loves her. Wow. And he loves that dog. So it's huge.
It's huge. That is really big. It was so hard for us to, when we were deciding if we were going to get a dog, and we ultimately ended up getting a dog because of what Isaac was saying. I'm having a hard day. Can I go see a dog? We have a child that I really, she needed an animal companion. And it has ended up being so good for our whole family.
And for Isaac.
But I honestly, I was telling my husband, I can't call Emily and tell her. I can't call her and tell her because it will be devastating for their family. Because I know how big of an issue that is. And not just for the phobia, but for all of the allergies in my family. Because
deal.
It's a big, it's important for me that my family can be around. Yeah. My extended family and friends. But
we've done pretty good with Luna.
Yeah, so... we've done what we can reasonably do to help with the allergies.
Well, you guys are really good at dusting and vacuuming and sweeping bedding, all the time.
And we do all that we can to help with that, which is not going to eliminate, but hopefully reduce. And we also have worked really hard on training her. And she's still a puppy. She's a dog with her own will. And she's going to act like a puppy. And a dog, she's not going to sit perfectly still. And, in order for her to do that, would have to break her spirit, which I'm not going to do that. Because that's what we love about her. But it was really hard for us to decide to do that. But what we have found is that she is good at healing hearts.
Isaac just loves her. And he's not always... at ease around her, but he loves her. Yeah. Does that make sense? So sometimes he's still nervous, but it is such a blessing. It's brought tears to my eyes several times just to see him overcoming.
Yeah.
So good things. So if you want to call her pretty princess,
and
make her bandanas and put little crowns on her, I'm all for it.
My husband thinks it's ridiculous, but we'll still find him pampering her.
Yeah.
And so
he thinks it's ridiculous and he loves it.
He does. Well, at first he was like, we're getting it's another girl in the house. He's already outnumbered. He's like, please promise you're not going to dress her in ridiculous things. And I said, I cannot promise that.
No.
I can't promise that. But you'll find me laying on the floor with her under the table. Because that's her favorite place to lay if you're having a hard time. And I just go lay by her and I love you, Luna. So she's
if we didn't have the allergies, we would have had a dog years ago, specifically for Isaac. So
yeah.
But you're right. In a lot of ways, what I think that I struggle with is people that put their pets above people. Mm-hmm. That sometimes I'm like, anyway. But I love that people love their pets, and that's wonderful. Any kind of love, I mean, it just makes your life richer.
So I'll be making more bandanas. I'm sure that I will have a surplus. I've also been making hospital gowns. Isn't this really exciting?
That's cool, though.
It's not exciting.
But why are you making them?
I make hospital gowns for our chiropractor because she wants she wants people to feel more comfortable. So she wants them to have things that are long enough because a lot of the times they're just too short.
They're chintzy.
They're not big enough for a lot of people or small enough. So I make a wide variety. She also needs them to have all Velcro, no metal closures for X-rays and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so I make hospital gowns, and she likes the wilder the better. So that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing, is sewing hospital gowns.
And you do that for trade, don't you?
I do. Mm-hmm. I do. All of myself and all three of my girls have scoliosis, and theirs is all worse than mine, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And so we just have to decide which one is more important today and gets to see the chiropractor.
Which one of our children do we like more?
Most? Oh, okay. Claire also said her siblings have been demoted. Luna is now her favorite sibling.
Well, that's been my response to my kids when they're being absolutely ridiculous about, like, he got more, why did he get more than me? Or, things like that.
I love him more.
It's because I love him more than I love you.
Like, if you're going to ask a dumb question, there you go.
Honestly, please understand my kids don't actually think that.
No,
I'm just being sarcastic, but anyway.
No, actually, my husband's family, they are like that. They're our favorites.
No, we don't do that.
And that is very hurtful. It's hurtful for all of the children and it keeps going. That's hurtful. So sometimes we'll joke about it and always make sure my children know that we never, ever mean that. Ever.
Yes. Although Abby did ask me the other day, we have mentioned this before, but we have our friends who their house burned down in July. And Abby asked me probably like 3 weeks ago or something. She says, Mom, if our house was on fire, which one of us kids would you try to save? I'm just like, I'm not answering that question. That is ridiculous. I love all of my children equally. And then recently she's been doing that a little bit more. So am I more your favorite now than I was last week? And I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
My youngest daughter has taken to tell me on a regular basis how young I look.
Oh, that could work though.
But she's like over the top ridiculous with it. Like, you look like a toddler, Mom, or something like that. Like, you're really young, to try to make me feel really good and for her to be my favorite. And I finally just like, okay, enough with that. Yeah. So I mean, it's.
Well, I hope that my kids will all think they're my favorite.
They're all of my children. Yeah. I always tell them I'm like, you're my favorite daughter named Nadia in the room right now. I mean, I don't have any other daughter named Nadia, but we have to make sure that they know, not just my favorite daughter named Nadia, but the one that's in the room right now.
In case you ever have another one.
All right. Should we, this or this?
This.
Okay. This is the big news. The big news for Emily, and then I'll share the big news for me.
I know. As fun. So, as you may have guessed, I am opening a business, and it is a yarn dyeing business. So I'm entering into the world of yarn dyeing, and as is usual for us, if you decide to do it, then you should just dive into the deep end.
Go big or go home.
Right. So I will be opening I don't know the exact date, but it will be next week, or probably early next week. I'll be starting to post pictures of all my colorways for my first collection. I actually have 2.
Next week, that is in January.
Yes. So January. So today's January 11th. It's Thursday. So it'll be early. By the time this podcast airs, it'll be just in a couple days probably. So my company is called the Yarnbrary. And I am your Yarnbrarian to help you find all your fine yarns from your favorite stories. I love books, especially classic books. And of course, every time I'm reading something, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I can picture different colors and things like that. And I just finally was like, I gotta do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. So I am launching with my first book collection. So all my yarns will be based on, they'll be coming out in collections based on a book. And when we're done with that collection, it'll go away. It may come back again or it might not, but they won't just necessarily, each of the collections won't necessarily be colorways that stick around forever. But I will have some recurring as well. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the first 4 colorways from my first collection. This is so exciting. I've been working on this for so long.
Tell them what it's based on.
My first collection is Jane Eyre, which is my very favorite book. And since I want things to be just as fun as they can be, all of my labels are little books. So they have a little book cover. And then if you open them inside, you can read a little bit about my thoughts on the book. And there's a library card for you to track the projects you make with this yarn. And there's my logo right there. The Yarnbrary. And so here's the first 4 colors from the Jane Eyre collection. And I love them so much.
They are so pretty. Okay.
Okay.
We got to be able to see them really well.
I know. All right.
Here we go.
So the first 4 colors, this one is called Just Jane. It's a silvery gray base with speckles of pale mossy green and a deep plum color and kind of a rosy pink. So this one is called Just Jane, obviously based on our main character, Jane. Our second color is called The Red Room, which is actually more fuchsia, but that's because I love this color. Let's just face it. So if you know this story, then you'll know the Red Room was where Jane was locked inside when she was young and misbehaving by her cruel aunt.
And it was terror.
It was terrifying because she thought it was haunted. This color is called Opera Dancer's Daughter and is based on the character Adele, who is an opera dancer's daughter. And it's just a really pale peachy pink with speckles of gold and mauve. Oh, it's so pretty.
My husband wouldn't let me name my daughter Adele. And I'm glad.
Is it ridiculous that I'm in love with my own? Okay, sorry.
No, it's not ridiculous. You should be. If you don't love your own yarn, there's a problem.
This one is Rochester. So based on our brooding leading man. It's a deep teal with streaks of navy.
Oh, and look. Jane and Rochester.
Jane and Rochester.
They go well together.
Yes, they do. I have a couple more colorways that are going to be part of this collection, and I will be posting all the photos and then opening the shop next week.
Look how well everything goes together.
That is my goal, is that everything in the collection should go with everything else in the collection.
Yeah, I mean, these are just lovely. Let's see. Oh, they're just so pretty, Emily.
Thank you.
They're so pretty.
So the 2 other colors that I know that I'm going to actually be dyeing today are Ferndine, which was the house where they finally, at the very end, where they decide to get married.
I'm excited to see what you envision
And Party at Thornfield. So fun. Where all the fancy ladies and gents come and throw a party. So that is the Jane Eyre collection, or the beginnings of it. And I also have these 2 pair these 2 yarns that are going to be from a continuing series called Literary Lovers. So the Literary Lovers series, and these 2 are Romeo and Juliet. So beautiful, rich colors and a little bit dark.
Yes. That tag is really fun.
This is Romeo. He's a handsome fellow. And this is Juliet.
Of course. Of course it's Juliet.
Of course it is.
That is exactly Juliet.
So Romeo and Juliet will be available just for a limited time, but they're perfect for Valentine's Day. And I actually will have a couple mini skeins of these available as well. So if you wanted to get a Juliet with a mini Romeo or a Romeo with a mini Juliet, you could do that. So that's the Romeo and Juliet for my Literary Lovers.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
So anyway, it's been super fun. I've been working on this, the concepts, trying to make sure things are just how I want them and making things efficient, and there's so many details that go into it. It's way beyond just dyeing yarn, as everybody who owns a business knows.
Yeah. You know what to do with these?
What's that?
I would want to collect these tags, all the books.
Yeah, well, you can keep them and write your projects in them, and then you'll have the label and always know what you made with that yarn.
Yes, I would definitely have to collect all of these and keep the tags after I've used the yarn.
So do you know what I got to send out with these?
What?
The little teeny pencils that you can get at the library.
That's so fun.
I got little teeny pencils.
You should keep them. Keep your projects in a book bag. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
A tote bag, a book bag. Oh.
Yeah.
That would
there you go.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm super excited.
Really
I have had so many people be really kind about it. I posted a sample skein. In fact, I'll show it this one.
This is that's fine.
Actually, this is yours.
I seriously was like, Emily.
This is yours. I was going to give it to you on your birthday, but I'll give it to you.
I was like, I have to buy that. Don't give it to anybody else.
This was one that I was just kind of playing around, and I love the color, but I've kind of used this as one of the photos I've taken for marketing and so on. But it's so pretty, and I've named it Rosewater.
Love it.
Anyway, it's fun.
What are you calling the ones that are... Is this one that you're not repeating?
I'm not repeating it, so it's part of my banned books.
Love it.
Anyway.
Oh,
so that one's for you.
So
that one's
excited.
Rosewater. But it is so fun.
Look how beautiful, and the depth of color in this. This is what I love. It's not flat. It just has so much depth. That's... Yeah, these are so pretty.
Thank you.
These are so
Okay,
pretty.
here's the most hilarious thing. So I told Deborah I was doing this. I have been putting all the business type things in place before I started dyeing yarn. And I was all of a sudden one day, I'm like, what if I suck at it? What if I'm horrible? I haven't even really
I've started a website,
that much.
I've got tags, I've got a logo, I've got the books
the
lined
shipping
up. I've got
process, my packaging.
Because you were waiting for the yarn to come.
I was waiting for the yarn to come, and all of a sudden I was like, what if I'm horrible? And Deborah's like, you'll be fine. And I think I'm doing okay.
Well,
I really love what I've done so far.
yarn.
I have, but honestly, I have done very little up to now. Very little dyeing with acid dyes. Most of the dyeing I have done has been with kitchen safe products, and it
does work differently. It behaves differently.
But I've done a lot of research, so I think
what I do like with the acid dyes is the depth of color that you can get with it, and the flecks of colors that you can get. Yeah. And your speckling is beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, look at how dainty some of those speckles are. That is a hard thing to achieve, I'm just gonna say.
Thank you. I love it. And honestly,
I keep taking it from you. So
this is why I haven't been knitting as much. Is because this is what I want to do every day. I just wake up and I'm like, okay, what color's next?
I have this for just Jane because
yes,
everybody sees her as plain gray.
Plain gray.
But really,
She's an artist. She's creative, and she's got so much passion inside of her, and she loves nature. I'm like, you have to have speckles of green for Jane. Mm-hmm. You've got to have some purple because that rich, passionate, and then you've got to have the pink for just the sweetness of her.
Softness, yep.
So
that
anyway.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
So I'm excited, and I know what my next book is going to be after this. I'm already planning, and sorry. I'm freaking out just a little bit.
Okay, I'm excited. So is this going to be on a website or on Etsy?
So I will have yarnbrary.com. It is not live yet. Right now, if you went there, you wouldn't see anything, but it will be very shortly. And I'll be selling through Etsy to start at the very least. So you'll be able to find me just under Yarnbrary at Etsy. In fact, there's a reserved listing of this yarn with your name on it, just so I could mess around with some things.
Okay, I'll go purchase it.
Oh,
or a penny.
Yeah, it's your present.
I am so excited about this. Thank you.
Anyway, so yes,
I'll be on
Etsy.
Saying you had to give it to me. I just didn't want you to sell it to anybody else. It's like, don't let it go. When I knew you weren't doing it again.
So anyway, I love these two together. Okay.
Okay,
I'm calming down. It's so exciting to be able to share it, though, because this has been on my mind for so long, and I just couldn't say anything about it because it wasn't to that point yet, but it's so exciting to share it.
Okay, I'm excited for you to have your grand opening.
Yes.
Are we renting a bouncy house?
You're renting a bouncy house. We can have a bouncy house with the weather we have right now.
We're in this together, Emily. We're renting it together.
I'm not going in that thing. Seriously, though, it is so sunny outside right now. It's crazy.
Well, not just sunny, but warm.
Yes.
It's like spring. It's weird. Okay, before we end, I have my big news. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. It is not that exciting as Emily's, and it has nothing to do with knitting or sewing or crafting, but it does have to do with the domestic arts. So, my family, we have struggled with different food issues for years. And so my oldest daughter has severe acne and depression and different things that have been plaguing her for quite some time. And we have tried a lot of different things. I mean, a lot. We have tried a lot of things. And finally, we decided to have some food testing done. So there are 3 different types of food reactions. There's food allergies, there's food sensitivities, and then there's food intolerance. And I have an intolerance for wheat. Mm-hmm. So I don't have an allergy or sensitivity. It's an intolerance where my digestive system can't break it down. I'm not able to properly digest it, and so that causes a lot of other issues. So my daughter, we had food sensitivity testing done simply because I felt that was going to be more broad spectrum for us, because food allergies, anyways, well, we also don't have insurance, and that would have been like $650 to have some very basic food allergy testing done. So we did food sensitivity testing, and it took over a month to get the results back, and I was not prepared for this. She is very high and extremely high sensitive to all dairy, all eggs, not just the yolk or the whites. She is highly sensitive to sugar, so cane sugar, any yeast, so yeasty things like if you have grapes and naturally occurring, not just baker's yeast or brewer's yeast, but all yeasty things. So wheat, but specifically gliadin, the gluten is a little bit lower, and sesame seeds. And then she is moderate to highly sensitive to corn, oats, and what was the other one? Corn and oats. I think that was it.
That's enough to get on
with. Yes, that's enough. So, with that, I would have years ago freaked out and probably cried for months at a time and had a heart attack and panicked. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. What is she going to eat But immediately, because I have been dealing with a lot of different diets and researching, and I was like, we can do this. We can handle this. And it's not just that I could provide something for my daughter, but I knew that I could help her in finding things that would make her happy also. Because food is not just something that sustains your body, but it also feeds your spirit. It feeds your soul, which is why we have so much variety. And that's why we have comfort foods and things, because it doesn't just feed your body, but it feeds your soul. So I always feel that it's important that we feed our souls at the same time. So I thought I'd take my own advice, because when people ask me how to start off with the gluten-free diet, because that can be very overwhelming to people, and I always recommend that they just start very basic, very, very basic, and instead of looking at all the things that you can't eat, focus on whole foods that you can eat. You can have meat, fruits and veggies, and you can have rice. So let's start with those things. Just have a very basic, just have a protein and have a fruit and veggie and stick with that and keep it very basic. So that we'll just do that to start with, and then we will see what we can add in. So the biggest challenge is we are eliminating dairy and eggs and
sugar.
No, dairy and eggs and sesame seeds. Those are the highest. And then we are doing our best to reduce and cut out as much as possible corn, oats, sugar, and yeast. So we started out pretty basic. We're just going to have a protein, and we're going to have veggies for dinner. Just very, very simple, because I rarely do simple for dinner. I usually create something with 7,000 ingredients, and it always takes me too long to make it and stuff. And so I thought this will make it much easier for me in general. And at the same time, I might actually lose those 15 pounds that I gained on our cruise 2-3 years ago.
3.5.
So, which have stuck around. So, if you are struggling with food issues, that's my recommendation. Don't focus on all the things that you can't have and feel that it's just this,
like you're missing out.
Yeah. Instead, look at what can I have, and look at that, and then see what you can add in after you get accustomed to that. And we've actually found a lot of things that we could have. So I even found a gluten-free pasta that didn't have corn in it that was good. It's Ancient Grains, I think, and that was a good one. So that's what we're focusing on. And my daughter, we've done it for like 5 days now, and she says she's noticed a difference right off the bat, that she's feeling a lot better.
That's awesome.
So we hope to see a great improvement in her skin that hurts a lot, and in her mood and emotions. So, because I think that teenage acne is normal to a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. But it always gets brushed off as that's just normal. But when it's really severe, it's not normal. And when you go and see the doctor and they say that the food you eat does not affect the largest organ in your body, that is ridiculous to me. I'm like, I can't even take you seriously now if you're going to tell me that the food doesn't affect the organs in my body. The doctor told me that when my husband was diagnosed with Crohn's. The food you eat does not affect the organ that's infected, that's affected, that digests it. It's like, this is ridiculous. Okay, so I just can't take you seriously. So, anyways, that's our exciting news in our house. So I have been working on that.
Big changes, but really good changes.
Yeah, it'll simplify my grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, when you just shop around the outside, which is healthier, that's much easier. I don't even have to venture into the inside of the store where all of the stuff is that's not actually food. It's chemicals and stuff.
You did find a chocolate she could eat, didn't you?
I found a chocolate. Oh, I need to take a picture and put it. That was my number one goal, actually.
Yeah.
In starting this, I said, if I can find a chocolate, because that is just life for her. If I could find a chocolate that is sweetened naturally and that doesn't have dairy in it that she could eat, then she will be okay.
Yeah, she will.
And we found one the first day at Harmon's, and it is sweetened with coconut crystals. So as long as it's not cane sugar, she can have other sugars. So maple pure maple syrup is good. Agave, that's really low on the glycemic index.
Especially if you get the kind with fiber in it that's like not the super filtered.
Yeah. And honey, and especially raw honey is good that way.
Well, and raw honey,
coconut sugar.
Local raw honey is one of the best things you can do for your allergies.
I was just given a whole bunch of that for Christmas from somebody who has a local farm. I was so happy about that. So anyways, that's the sweetener is easy. The egg is the hard one.
Yeah, that is
hard.
Egg
is hard. So.
Well, good luck with that.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, what were you going to say?
I don't remember what I was going to say. Probably wasn't important.
There was a lot of other stuff besides knitting, and hope you stuck through it all.
I like it, though. I mean, when I watch other podcasts, I want to see the knitting, but I also want to visit with my friends.
I do. I do. I just want to bring you content that's going to make it worth your time for sitting with us for an extended period of time.
You know what the great thing is? There's this button you can push that makes us go away if you don't like what we're saying.
There's pause. There's skip.
There's block if you want to like never see us ever again.
You can unsubscribe, but I would love instead if you subscribe.
There you go.
And there's even a bell next to it that you can push, and it'll tell you as soon as we have a new episode up.
There you go.
So you could be like extra crazy, like we can't wait to hear more of your weirdness. I'm gonna hit the bell.
Join the tribe of the crazy old ladies. We've already discussed this. Oh, and by the way,
are you gonna talk about the long?
No, I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that. But I am talking about the fact that last episode, we were talking about wanting to come and visit our friends. We have so many people who are like, come visit us, come visit us.
We're working
and now
on the
we want to even more.
I'm working on my motorhome. I need to be more classy. My RV motorhome is really redneck.
Call it a camper.
It's a camper.
It's a camper.
It's a camper. Okay.
Okay.
We're working on it. This weekend we're painting the interior.
Nice.
If you were to see the inside of it right now, it is like a tornado went through it. It is crazy.
You have to make a mess before you can make it pretty.
Yep. So I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting.
I haven't broached my husband with the idea of us going. I mean, he overheard, but I haven't seriously talked to him about it because once it's done, once the
Do you think it would be done by the end of February?
No.
Oh, dang it. Do you know what's at the end of February?
Sorry, the heater's noisy.
Hold on.
What's at the end of February? No, there's a
Stitches. Yeah,
oh, yes.
Stitches West in California, in Sacramento, is at the end of February.
Oh,
Do we have any friends in Sacramento? Comment.
Yes. Sorry. We do.
I want to go to Stitches West.
Your swap partner.
Okay. If you happen to be in that area and wouldn't mind hosting some crazy people to come to Stitches West, or just want to meet up with us if we found another place.
Oh.
Just an idea. I don't know that it's going to happen, but it would be so fun.
That would be really fun.
That would be so fun. And that's actually like one of the few times in a year that I can go places.
Should we wear our crowns?
Okay.
This is really tight.
Time to take a picture and say goodbye.